after the Dobbs decision, I was pretty angry, and I'm a screenwriter, and I thought, you know, we can write something. And actually, so my director here, Oliver Siren, who did a great job, he talked all the time about political stuff, and I was like, you know what this is about? This is about the criminalization of women. And I just got this weird idea about it's probably going to end up that women will be trying to escape to Canada as mail order brides, right? And we were both like, hey, what an idea. So that's how that happened. People are delivering some drinks on the stage as well. I see in the back a hand raised. That's you. Yep.
I have one question and then a follow-up question. The guy in the blue suit at the end, he played Tim, right?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, he played Tim. He did play Tim, yes.
My question is this on? My question is, how did you get in the headspace to play such a character?
A lot of wine.
That's a great question. I got the gig. I'm not a trained actor. Actually, I'm not a trained actor. I'm not an actor by trade. I'm a musician. And Oliver came to one of my gigs and saw me, and actually knew Oliver from like 15 years before. But he's like, you have the perfect haircut for this role. So the headspace was already sort of taken care of. Thanks.
Tommy did an awesome job for not being an actor. And the funny thing was, you know, we showed up to film, and he's like, you want to run lines? I'm like, dude, I don't have any lines. It's all good. I got nothing. I'm good. All I have to do is look at you weird, and I'm good.
There's a small story attached to that. And that's that Anne was like, okay, so I think of my character as like a mole in a dark place. And she had this like whole kind of character arc to how to get into her thing. And she's like, what's yours? And I was like, I got a haircut. I've got clothes on.
Over there on the left side, in the back.
Hi, so I have a question for Anne specifically, who plays a female lead in Mail Order Bride. So, admittedly, you know, I was talking to her prior, and I didn't put two and two together that, now I've seen this before, many of y'all, I didn't even put two and two together. I guess because, you know, Anne, you had to do a lot of grimacing for, you know, I guess you mentioned almost feeling like a mole and having to put up with certain unwanted sexual advances. And I guess, you know, my question comes down to, I know, obviously working with Tommy and that has to be comfortable. I guess my question becomes, you know, ultimately, what were your feelings as you were trying to film that? Because that's not an easy scene to film, I imagine.
Yeah. Well, the three of us actually spent some time up at Oliver's cabin. That's where we filmed it. And for me, I'm an actress. I will do whatever it takes to get a good shot. But we talked about it, you know. We actually, Tommy had read something about intimacy on set, and he sent me the article, and we talked about it, and you know, we did some bonding before we did the filming. And when it came to it, I'm like, dude, just grab my food, it's fine. It's all good, you know? My husband's not gonna see this, it's good. And he's not here, so go figure. But you know, it is, you have to trust the person that you're working with, and it is kind of a tough thing to do. And so, you know, helps to have a closed set where it's just a few of us there. It was the three of us and our camera guy, and that was about it. So having that smaller set helped, and trusting Tommy and knowing that he wasn't gonna really hurt me. I was the tougher one than he was. I'm like, come on, just do it, slam my head down, I'm good. Because in the end, it's the story that we want to show you guys. It's what you guys see is believable, that, oh my God, I'm in peril. I mean, I watch that thing and I'm just like cringing at everything he does. Like he touches me and all the faces I'm making, I'm cringing through the whole thing. And I'm like, am I the only one doing this? I don't know. But does that answer your question?
Yes, and then some.
Okay, thank you.
I have to commend you for saying so much without saying anything at all in the majority of that movie. It was really, yeah, well done.
Okay, I'm going to pass this on to first Nick, who was the guy who wanted to make the Dollar Baby in the first place.
So, Stephen King had a program called Dollar Babies where you could option the right to produce one of his films for literally $1. And one of the very first ones that had been adapted was The Woman in the Room. And the gentleman who did that Dollar Baby went on to direct a little film called Shawshank Redemption. My goal was to create the best Dollar Baby film that is out there, and I'd like to think that we accomplished that goal. These folks next to me, Amy Teresa, who actually wrote the screenplay, she gets most of the credit, so I'm going to pass it on to her.
Yeah, I don't know if I get a lot of credit because you start with something really good. Stephen King is amazing, as many of us know. I'm sure that a lot of people read his stories. So adapting it was a little scary because I'm a big fan, but I tried to take what he wrote and then put my own twist on it. And there's, if you ever read that story, you'll see what was there and then what I added.
And going with the production of The Woman in the Room, we actually, I don't know if any Stephen King fans out here, we included some little Easter eggs in the film to pick up on. So at the very beginning we had the penguins, that one was Misery, yeah. And then on the TV, what is playing is the original The Woman in the Room by Frank Darabont, the very first documentary movie, is playing on the TV. And then we have a couple of shots that lend it to The Shining and to Carrie and stuff like that. And The Stand, yeah. Yeah, and then Christopher Walken was up there too at some point. Yeah, but adapting, Amy wrote a great screenplay, and just using that as our blueprint, and then allowing that to incorporate the visions that I wanted to incorporate in terms of a flashback. I wanted him to watch himself with his mother to really have a happy memory, where actually in the original story it's not a happy memory. That's something that Amy changed in the script and stuff like that, so, yeah.
I guess this could be for anyone, but I think specifically for the woman in the room crew. The lighting and the sound design is just so stark. The contrast between the hospital and home, and wanting to go home, and the evil of the hospital. Can you expound more on your choices there in terms of the lighting and the sound design between those two completely juxtaposed environments?
Yes, so I directed, shot, edited, sound design, additional sound design by sound extraordinaire here. Chris Mateo is jumping the film as well as no additional sound design. But going into it, where I was storyboarding and stuff, I definitely wanted a contrast between home and hospital, where the home felt warm even though it was lonely, and the hospital felt cold even though they were together. So I wanted to have that feeling of like death was there, and at home he was alone, but it still felt warm as home should feel, even though contrasting, he felt not not happy. So it was definitely a specific choice to make it more like an amber kind of 70s, 80s, early 80s feel, and then the blue, which we kind of mimed a little bit from Joker with Todd Phillips' film there. And then, yeah, the sound design. Originally, I sound designed the film with music from Shawshank Redemption because it had that eerie, hopeful feel to it. And then we're like, okay, this is too much King. Let's find some other music. And I just found, honestly, music and sound libraries and stuff that I had, and mixed a couple different tracks together and stuff to make it work. And then we had 2 songs. One with Casey and the Sunshine Band, Go Let Me Go, out of the hospital scene, which the lyrics just felt right, even though it's a love song. And then Jim Croce, Operator, and that was actually, that we shot at Jim Croce's former house. That was an Airbnb, that was his house, his old home that he lived in. So when we got that, listened to all Jim Croce records, I was like, oh, this song will be perfect for this film, so that's how the music came apart. And don't get any questions, anything else to add for design?
Not specifically. Danny gave me a really great base to start with, and then it's just, anybody that does sound work all the time, it's weeks and weeks and weeks of listening to it over and over and over again, and changing everything by 1 decibel. Until you eventually have to abandon it, because and there was a handful of things tonight that I would like to fix. That's just the way it goes.
Thank you.
I definitely have to say that I don't think it can really overstate how important I think that things like Mail Order Bride are, especially in these times, you read about things like Project 125 and things like that. I really think that more of that needs to kind of hit as much of the general public and whatnot as possible. So I wanted to make that statement, but my question is for you guys. That last scene just feels like there's really just sort of in the sense of 2 ships kind of passing in the night almost, when the lead is killing himself versus the fall from his mom. And I kind of almost was expecting that he was essentially helping her go peacefully or whatnot. But and to be fair, I haven't read the Stephen King novel or anything. But that misconnection at the end, I don't know. One, is that in the original thing, and 2, do you feel like the ultimate end of the character would have been different if that wasn't it?
So in the short story, you don't really see what happens to Johnny after he gives his mother the pills. So you don't really see what happens to him. So we
wanted to have an ending that was very specific, but not really. So you kind of, what happened there? Is she dead? Is she a spirit? Is something supernatural going on? It's very Stephen King. So that's all Amy.
And I'll just say one of the things with the character of Johnny, we've gotten various reactions of sympathy and hatred of my God, how is he doing this to his mother? And I just love the fact that you think maybe he's being selfish by offing her, and then at the end you see the impact on him and what that does. And for all caregivers who have to go through that, You get that sense of the impact on the individual.
Yeah, in the context of the short film, you guys showed remarkable character development within the
Thank you.
So, if you guys created the ending of the story on your own, was there any alternative like scenarios you went through before deciding on that one?
No, when I started, like, when I read the story once, and then I read it again, and then I never looked at it again, and then I just wrote, and then when we got to that part, I really just wanted, I to show just like his pain, because the story didn't kind of stop there. So that was really where I wanted to take it, and then I really wanted you to not know what was going on at the end.
That's all you, yeah, take credit for it. You wrote it. I guess sometimes I want to add and I forget. So any other questions? Yeah.
Okay, this is for the mail order bride crew, but so much was communicated through your costume design. From like the stains on the shirt, like it just spoke so much to the character, to your clothing being kind of like, it felt like that, like I'm in a rush, I need to get something. I've seen women wear costumes like that speak to that like hurry, I had to pull something together real quick because I was on the run. Like, was that? Tell me more about that decision making and the costuming and what did it feel like to like embody those characters in those clothes?
Like Ann said, there was only a couple of us on the set, so we all had a hand in that. Tommy, and a lot of that was you. You should just talk about it.
Ann really designed most of it, so.
Well, coming to a bride, it was going to be very sad and morbid, so it was all gray, just an entire gray outfit. He was in that dirty white shirt that was actually dirty with coffee grounds. That's how we got that look, but his parents were furniture makers, and maybe that was his job now, so we kind of made him look like, yeah, that was kind of his thing, and maybe he had this old, vest, puffy vest that, I don't know, came from like 1985. It was this. But then we were looking at the pajamas, and that was actually a big decision. That's right, yeah. She took a lot of time trying to find the right pajamas. And I was like, well, you have to wear something that run in, right? And you're running in the woods. And tell them about the slippers. So you had to have multiple pairs of slippers. Yeah, I did buy multiple pairs just in case I, gotten too dirty or too messed up or whatever. And then I tried to go get them dirty by working in my yard. I just couldn't. I'm just too clean. I just couldn't do it. But so we used, more dirty things. We used the coffee grounds on our pajamas too. Yes. And also Hershey's Kisses. Remember? That's right. Yes. Mountain Hershey's Kisses. I don't know what that was supposed to represent, but the pajamas ultimately were like jail. It was gray with the white stripes, and that was a purposeful decision to make it feel like, okay, I know I'm in jail, and this is what it is. So that's kind of where it went. And then, of course, the last scene was bright and hopeful, and so we really wanted to convey that, with the yellow top, and hey, you made it to Canada. Keep safe now.
You don't get to just be an actress. You have to be a costume designer on my sets.
I see a couple more in the front here.
Johnny, I see you have a big cell phone there. Is your ringtone the rotary ringtone? That would give you too much PTSD, I think.
Mom! Where's the meatloaf?
Yes, over there.
One quick question for you guys, and emotionally really heavy film. What was that like shooting that scene?
Yeah, we work together a lot, this group, and Susan Moses, who played the mother, brilliant actress. Yeah, give it up for Susan. I'll say actually the set is, we have to keep it professional but light. But when it came time to work, when cameras roll, things get quiet, people get their space, and we let them do their job. And it's heavy, but we all know what we're doing. And I think when you're surrounded by people who want us to support you, it's easier to work that way. And I think we provide a relaxed environment for everyone to work and do the best work. So.
Personally, I think some of the heaviest scenes were the hospital scenes with Mom, and everybody left us alone. Mom and I, we just stayed by our bed, and we ran lines, and we just focused. And Susan is very intense, and so she and I had that fantastic eye contact and back and forth. So that was one of the most intense beats. On the flip side, when we were in the hospital, or in the home, and I had to be frustrated with Mom, Susan did a very good job of helping me get frustrated with her, because we were filming and she just walked through the scene. And I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? So she very much helped me get frustrated at her as well. Method acting, yes.
She opened the door to us.
And she would just walk right through. All right, take 3. Here we go. That's right.
I was struck by the ambivalence and ambiguity as you were sitting in the home in the chair and dealing with the phone. Was it that you were frustrated with your mom, or were you frustrated with her condition and that there was nothing you could do for her? And having been there, I get those feelings. But was that part of the reason that you put in the scene with the prior loving relationship so that you could see both sides of the relationship, that it wasn't all frustration and anger?
So real quick, you're seeing Johnny at his worst, honestly, at the home, and yeah, the flashback.
Yeah, I definitely want you to see the frustration of the phone that causes him, because every time that phone rings, it's her, every single time. And that when you see him say, I'll be there tomorrow, he was already there all day. So like that, I wanted that frustration, but I also wanted to show the loving relationship that they had. In the original story, it was very, it was more like, it wasn't a great memory. I didn't want that. And the phone wasn't a thing in the original story. Thank you.
Well, for both crews, what are your tips for filmmakers with location staffing, finding down places between your sets, and how shooting another existing is? Brought in challenges and with to the current production.
Yeah, so I spent a lot of time looking for locations. It's probably one of the hardest things aside from getting funding. We work really hard to make sure that our production design is really top notch, and we spend a lot of time scouting and making sure that everything looks authentic. And being that this was a period piece set in the late 70s, early 80s, I hope we got right across to the older folks here. Yeah, it's not easy. We spent a lot of time on Airbnb. Danny and Amy actually found the Jim Croce house, which had an amazing amount of character. The hospital location is a professional studio located in Wilmington, and a fellow filmmaker hooked us up with that killer liquor store location. So I guess it was a lot of legwork. So.
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of time. I was on Airbnb looking at just houses that looked that they haven't been updated in years, and came across like 3, and that was the one that was closest to us, and also when I reached out, were totally cool with us filming there. So like, yeah, you can film here. Someone actually is filming right now, which I think that film played Empty Pockets in this festival, and they used the same house. So that's the same house, and it's in their film as well. So you saw Empty Pockets, you saw that house twice in 2 different ways. Yeah. So, and then, the hospital thing, we got that, and the liquor store, and then the car. Amy found someone with the old car, and
I'm just gonna say, I really wanted a car, an older car. So this was like my mission. I was gonna find a car, and I did.
and that's it.
Borrow that car when you're done.
We might need to borrow that car for our next project. Well, in our situation, you guys may not realize this, but the scene at the bar was shot here, upstairs. We just had to know people, we had some clout, we had connection. Just 1 or 2, just 1 or 2. So locations weren't really an issue, and then Oliver had a cabin in the Poconos, which is where we shot that one scene. So that wasn't a problem. I would say our biggest problem was editing, because we shot some really fun stuff in the bar scene that we had to cut. And that's really painful, but I actually had a film that I co-wrote and co-produced that was at this exact festival a year ago, and it was half an hour long, but it was my first short. I didn't know what I was doing, and so we just got lucky that I got it. Watching all the other movies, I'm like, it was a little bit too long. So we kind of figured 15 minutes is like the sweet spot. Really, it's going to be a little under that. So we had to figure out what to cut, and that was just painful. But we can put it on the DVD.
There you
The
go.
extra footage.
Does anybody buy those anymore? DVDs?
All right, I see, we'll take maybe 2 more questions. So I'm going to get the woman in the very back row.
This is for you all. How much interaction, if any, did Stephen King have with the project? Like, what was the process to be able to put the movie on, put the story on?
He has these short stories out there. I'd say we haven't talked to Stephen King, met Stephen King.
So he has an assistant, Margaret, who just retired, unfortunately, so the Dollar Game program is over. But it was actually unbelievably simple. Email his assistant and you tell her, I'm a filmmaker, I want to adapt this story. They send you a contract, sign the contract, you send Stephen King a actual physical dollar bill with the signed contract, and that's it. Now you have the right to adapt that film. And I had to send him a DVD copy, so yes, people still want DVDs because we had to mail one to Stephen King.
That's good.
And hopefully he watches it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I came tonight not knowing what to expect. I came to see the acting because I happen to know some of the people, and I was not disappointed at all. But I never expected to see the technical excellence that I saw in these films.
I think that's, any other questions? Are we good?